bringing Gator Nation a different Gator great every episode.
This is Jabari Gaffney. You're listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
Hey, I'm Earl Everett. You're not a Gator, you're Gator bait.
This is Bo Carroll.
Hey, I'm Rita Anthony.
This is Kewan Ratliff, and you are listening to All for the Gators podcast.
This is Cedric Faison, a.k.a. C4.
This is Brandon James.
This is Jack Jackson. Go Gators.
Hi, this is your boy Jeremy Mincy, a.k.a. Mr. Mintz, and we were the All for the Gators podcast.
This is Ben Trooper. You listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
Hey, guys, this is Jarvis Moss. Go Gators.
You rocking with Lito Shepherd, and we're All for the Gators podcast, man. Top notch.
This is Chris Doring, and you're listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
And now, your Gator alumni hosts, John, Andy, and Sid.
Anybody eat at Paisanos lately in Gainesville?
It's been a minute.
Not me.
No. Anybody get kicked out of Paisanos in Gainesville?
Not me.
So last weekend, Ric Flair, 16-time world champion, Ric Flair was eating at Paisanos in Gainesville. His granddaughters were graduating, so last weekend was graduation.
Correct. Okay.
And he was eating it. He had the whole Flair clan out at Paisanos on 13th in Gainesville. Had a little too much to drink. Not surprising from Ric Flair, right?
Wow.
Yeah, got into it with the kitchen manager or something, and there's video of it online. And he's just cursing at the guy, and he's just loaded, and they're trying to get him to leave. They're kicking him out.
Yikes.
I mean, how embarrassing. I mean, Ric Flair, one of the biggest celebrities in the world at one time, one of the biggest pro wrestlers ever.
He's always identified as a Gator. I remember when we were at Gator Growl, he came out and gave us a big woo. I think his daughter was there at the same time of us, if I remember correctly. So, not one of my favorite wrestlers. He was a little bit before my time, actually. Wasn't he like a bigger deal like when we were little kids? Like I think he was
around
really
a long time.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. He did cover a lot. Yes.
So that made me wonder. You guys ever get kicked out of a restaurant or bar in your life?
Define kicked out.
Requested to leave the premises due to intoxication.
I've been asked to leave Chinese buffets. It had nothing to do with intoxications, but that's a different story.
Yeah, I think we were asked to leave an all-you-can-eat wing night.
Rest in peace, Spink.
Yeah. I do think there was an all-you-can-eat wing night we were asked to leave from, but definitely not for, not that I remember from alcohol.
Well, I got requested to leave a bar one night, and I don't think that's bad. I mean, in and of itself, that's bad. But if you look at the volume of nights at bars,
the percentage is very low.
One time,
the percentage is very low.
Extreme. Right. It doesn't even hit the radar, right? It doesn't even.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was at like an ale house, and I guess I probably had a bad day, and I was with some buddies and had a little too much. I was probably in a bad mood. So right before I left, I turned around, I went back to the bar. And I bought everybody sitting around the bar a shot of Jaeger.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have been in a location where a celebrity was asked to leave. Unrelated, but I was at a Knicks Heat game many years ago, and there was a little to-do over courtside. And riding home in traffic, find out that the late, great Jimmy Buffett was asked to leave for something said during the game of the ref. So didn't realize it at the time, but everybody was cheering as it happened. But late in the fourth quarter, it was actually a great game. I'm a Knicks fan. The Knicks came back on the Heat late in the game, and driving home found out apparently Mr. Buffett wasn't enjoying the game as much as my father and I were, and I was asked to leave.
And you're wearing your Knicks shirt tonight. Look at that.
Same colors as the Gators.
Good point. All right. Sid, give me a segue.
Okay, I have one. As a Knicks fan, the best point guard we could come up with for quite a while was a quarterback. You might recall Charlie Ward of Florida State fame prior to coming to the Knicks. So I want to talk about somebody, one of my favorite things to talk about is people who have tormented quarterbacks from Florida State. So do we have anybody who might have been on defense who could have maybe ruined a Florida State quarterback's day with maybe an interception or a forced fumble of some sort? How about that?
Our guest tonight came just after Charlie Ward, but this guest did torment FSU quarterbacks a lot in his time at UF.
My kind of guest. Tell us more.
Yeah, I like him already.
Yes.
Well, fellas, I've said this before. There are a few players that if you saw them play, their style of play, you never forget it. Well, tonight's guest is one of those guys. Add another legend to our roster of guests. He came out of Mandarin High in Jacksonville and jumped down to the Swamp to play for Coach Spurrier and the Gators, becoming one of the most disruptive and dominant corners to ever don the orange and blue. Possessing the perfect mix of speed, power, and hands, a true ball hawk, Gator Nation, I give to you a man that helped set the benchmark for DBU and then spread his havoc to the secondaries across the NFL. Two-time first-team All-SEC, 97 team captain, and consensus first-team All-American. UF's all-time interception leader with 15, a member of UF's All-Century team. Are you ready? 96 national champ and UF Athletics Hall of Famer with number 24 on his chest, Joseph Frederick Weary, Mr. Fred Weary.
Oh, welcome. It's great to be on, fellas.
Thanks for being here.
So cool to have you on with us today. We've been trying for so long to get you on. So first of all, thanks to Mrs. Kelly for making it happen for us.
Well, it's always nice to have a better half to put everything together. Yeah, she definitely helped me out with that.
So, Fred, we know about the fun and gun, all that scoring, but what about that defense? Fred, tell us how good you guys were. Come on.
Well, you definitely hit the nail on the head. That was the reason why we were able to win a championship and definitely win all those SEC titles back then. We finally got the defense right during my time there. When I first got on the field in '94, my redshirt freshman year, I think Coach Pruitt was the defensive coordinator for the Gators. And we had I think our motto was basically bend but not break. And the defensive backs, I remember my friends used to call and be like, well, Fred, I see you playing in the game, but are you playing safety or are you playing corner? Because I can't tell how far you're off the ball. So that tell you right there how, what our defense was. Just don't give up the big play, and keep them in the game. And it used to hurt us. And then we messed around and we got Coach Stoops from, I think he came from Kansas State back in those days. And
Okay.
And then once Coach Stoops came in and he brought this, the whole defensive scheme, and basically it was pressure defense. I don't even know if we really played any zone too much back then with Coach Stoops. So we basically blitzed a lot, and we basically made a lot of plays. And he basically taught me how to play bumper run, and the rest took off from there.
I've said it a few times on this show. I think the mix of Coach Spurrier and Coach Stoops is the best offensive and defensive mix in college football history. I would imagine you're somewhat in agreement with me, I imagine.
Oh, yes. Of course, what Coach Spurrier, the offensive genius he is, and we had a young, brash, Bobby Stoops at that time coming up, and he was a defensive genius too. That's what we found out here. We didn't know that coming in, but we found out he was a defensive genius, just like Coach Spurrier was an offensive genius. So it was a perfect combination, perfect match.
All right, let's take it back a little bit. So before you were roaming the swamp, you were a star at Mandarin High in Jacksonville. Did you play any other positions back then? And at what point did you kind of realize you were good enough to play at the next level?
Oh, well, my Mandarin, well, I played everything at Mandarin. I was playing quarterback. See, in junior high, I went to this big-time junior high school here in Jacksonville called DuPont Junior High. And I took that team to the championship, and I was playing quarterback back then. And I went to Mandarin High when it first opened in '91. And my claim to fame was I told everybody I was going to run back the school's kickoff before it happened. So that's kind of what put me on the map. Coach Zook came to that jamboree, and that's what he was talking about. And, Coach Spurrier saw all this. But anyway, what put me on the map was I told everybody, make sure you come to this game. I'm going to run back and open the kickoff. And I did it.
Called your shot. Love it.
That was the first game at the school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, first game in the school history
of
Mandarin. It was the jamboree and Zook was there recruiting all the, everybody was there too. So I took it off. But I had just came off a junior high championship where I had played against it's funny. My junior high competitors now, I played in a championship game. I played against a guy named Sam Coward. I don't know if you know that guy's name.
Yep.
He played for the Bills for a time, didn't he?
There you go. But he ended up being my high school. But I played against him first in junior high. He was the quarterback for the team I played against in the championship, Northwestern. And then he went to Mandarin. We both went to Mandarin after that. Then Sam went to Florida State and I went to Florida. So that's kind of also what helped me Sam brought a lot of recruits to Mandarin, and that's kind of what also put me on the map.
Was Sam supposed to come to Florida and then flipped? Did I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought so.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you but it's a lot of big things. Now you got to think too. How it started with my recruiting process. Florida State was on me first, so Florida State was on us first, and then Zook came in late, and that's the reason why Sam didn't go to Florida. If you want to know, Florida State jumped on us first. As soon as they saw me run that kickoff back, they was on. Right then, and that was my sophomore
who were
year
you
in high
talking
school.
there? Was that Mickey Andrews, on the defense coach at the time?
Yeah, yep. He was the recruiting coordinator from this area. But Zook came on late towards my junior year. And then, I always was waiting for Florida to come in. And once they started recruiting me, boom, I started focusing on them.
So the force is stronger with Coach Zook than it is with Mickey Andrews. We heard it here first on the All for the Gators podcast, everybody.
Yes, it is. And he'll tell you, I'm pretty sure he got a lot of, next time you talk to Coach Zook, he has a lot of recruiting stories too about that period.
So you get recruited to UF, right? And you get on campus. Tell us about that first time you walk in the DB room. Larry Kennedy, you got L-Dog, you got Antoine Lott. What was that like for you the first time you walked in that room?
Okay, well, it wasn't like that. You got to think, when I came in as a receiver, y'all. So I didn't come in as
quite a receiver room you're walking into there.
That's a bigger receiver room. Let me tell you about that. Yes, and then they had Harrison Houston, they had Aubrey Hill, they had Jack Jackson, they had Chris Dorn, they had Willie Jackson, and then Coach Spurrier was recruiting. He had just signed him. He told me too, and this is what made me go from receiver to DB. He said, "Fred, I'm recruiting Riedel, Ike Hilliard,
Quez,
Jaquez, Quez Green, Travis McGriff, Nafis Kareem." He said he had all the top receivers in the nation coming that year. So I was a nice recruit. I was a nice little athlete and all that stuff like that. So they was trying to figure out a way to get me on the field, basically. So after my red shirt year, I left the receiving room and I went over to the DB room. And I was 6th on the depth chart. And yeah, it was you had Lawrence right in there, you had Anthony, you had a lot of great guys on defense that was already established there. My thing was, I was always a football player. I wasn't just a receiver. So when they recruit you, they recruited me as an athlete too, but I went in the receiver room first. So but I was what you would call a football player. All you need to do is put me on the field and I was gonna perform. So once I got the opportunity, I went from 6th on the depth chart. In that spring, I finished 3rd on the depth chart, and then, then I started playing sparingly my redshirt freshman year.
Do you think that
94.
Do you think that experience in the receiver room helped you on the other side, so you understood more about the routes and how the offenses were working against you? Was that preparing you ultimately for your success later?
Oh yeah, well. Of course that, but I think it was my upbringing the whole time. I didn't just play one position coming up. See, I was recruited to Florida as an athlete. So they recruited me. If you look on there, they recruited me. That means I could play receiver, any DB position. So I was a true, and they had a lot of athletes back then at that time.
Terry Jackson.
Oh yeah, but I could just tell you some guys in my freshman class that you don't even remember. Like we had Xavier McCray. Xavier McCray came in benching 400 pounds, running the 4.340. Wow. The boys from Kansas City, and then Kevin Walton them. They was benching over 500 pounds coming in as freshmen. Just let you know, and they was running 4.3s.
Man, it's crazy because we've heard so many stories like that from Terry Jackson. We had Coach Zook on. Yeah. He told us that I believe it was Ike came in as a defensive back.
Ike Hilliard, yeah.
And
yeah, Spurrier didn't want him. Spurrier didn't want him on the team.
But Zook wanted him to get him on the roster and then figure out later as an athlete where to put him. And it seems like a lot of the really talented athletes were in that same position like yourself.
Yes, and it's funny. I don't really know what's going on now. It's funny because there's a lot of I see guys in high school now. They don't really let the athletes play both ways now. They let them play one position. So you don't. And I tell people now when I see them playing high school and stuff, you don't really know what that guy's going to turn out in college because That's the reason why they need to play multiple in high school. But it's not like that. It was like that when I played. I played everything except the line, y'all. In high school, for real, I was ready. So by the time I got to college, I mean, all you had to do is give me an opportunity. I knew how to play the position already. You didn't have to teach it to me,
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a bunch of studs in wide receiver room, in the DB room. Was there anybody on the team that you gravitated towards when you got there to kind of maybe learn the ropes from?
Shay Showers.
Okay.
Shay pretty much did the same thing I did. Shay was a top athlete, from Santa Fe, and he was a receiver and everything. And he went from receiver to DB, and he was a pretty good DB too, man. He could play safety and corner. He was one of those type guys. Yeah.
Did you turn that around and pay it forward to somebody else and take them under your wing that came in when you were kind of more experienced?
Yeah. Anthony Mitchell, Elijah Williams, my roommate.
Right. Another athlete.
Yeah, another athlete.
Yeah, a lot. I helped Elijah out a lot when he had to make the transition from running back to cornerback his senior year when they featured Fred, the whole time. So even though Eli had, was leading he had the career rushing average in rushing at that time too.
I heard that's what he tells everybody to this day.
Oh, it was. Eli was, I played.
He still says it.
Yeah. That's what got his opportunity to play in the league though, was him playing, transferring over to DB. So
sure.
Give us an idea of what it's like to get out on the field into like a packed swamp. Do you like just walk around the neighborhood and get like a whiff of someone mowing the grass and it takes you back and reminds you what it's like on the field or something like that? Kind of paint the picture for us. What do you remember about your first experience in a big game out there on the field?
I don't know, because when I'm playing in front of 90 or 100 some thousand people, I can tune them out, but I tune them out and I feed off them at the same time. Can you kind of get that?
Oh yeah,
sure.
So when I need to focus, I'm tuning out. But if I'm making a play or I hear a play made, I feed off that. Or if our team's making a play, I can feed off the energy from the crowd. So I mean, I don't know. I can tell you this, like, whenever they used to throw me in the game, so for instance, say, my red shirt year, 94, and if they throw me in the game against, and I didn't start, or I'm third team, second team, and they throw me in the second team, I would instantly get an interception. As soon as they put me in the game, I would get an interception. For real. It got to the point to where they had to try to put me in the rotation.
Yeah, figure out how to get you on the field. Yeah.
I figure out to get me on because every time they put me in their period, I would make a play.
What do you attribute that instant success to? Do you think that they were trying to go after the young guy who they think is green, or were you just in the right place at the right time? Like, how did that come together so well?
You got to prove. Hello, now you got to prove it. Now I had to prove that basically my personality. What I'm describing now is my game personality. I had to prove to them that I'm Fred Weary, y'all. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
I had to show them. I had to prove it to Coach Spurrier every single day. You understand? So I could tell you, it got to the point I did so much type stuff that made their eyebrows go up till they gave me a nickname. They called me Cabrera. I didn't give myself that nickname. They gave me that. You understand what I'm saying? Because I started doing so much crazy stuff just in practice, just to let them know they need to put me on the field till they knew I was going to make the play. And they got kind of like, they knew what to expect from me once they got, they let me play on the field. So that's how I kind of came up, y'all.
So tell us about the first one. Do you remember the play? Who threw it? Did you get a big return?
What, interception? I think it was against Kentucky. I think it was a one-hand dive, maybe.
Do it in style.
I think it was a one-hand dive. I didn't really have, I don't think I returned return one for a touchdown in college. Out of 15, can you imagine that? and I had a great return yardage, y'all. So it's not
sure you did.
But I only returned one in college, and that was against a guy that was actually my teammate in the pros, Jake Delholm. I picked him off when he played for Southwestern Louisiana.
Okay.
But I mean, both of them were Super Bowl players.
Yeah, he started a Super Bowl. Not a lot of guys could say that.
Him and the receiver I picked out too. I forgot his name. Brandon Stokely.
Oh, sure.
Was the guy. Both of them. Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of games in '94, and you win your first of 3 consecutive SEC championships. What memories stick out about that game?
Which one? The championship game or just
your first one? Your first SEC championship. What memories do you have about that first one? They always say, you always remember your first one.
Oh yeah. Well, I basically, I hate to say it, I kind of made the play to win the game for us at the end of the game. So it was, I really wasn't even supposed to start that game. I think Anthony got hurt, so I didn't start, but I played. I think Shea started, and soon as I got in the game, I remember they threw a corner on me real quick, and then coach, he said something to me, and there ain't nothing. Then I think they came back through another pass, and I picked it off. I picked off a flat. So then that end of that game, I think that game was 20. I think we won it 24-23, and at the end of the game, they tried to throw a corner out, but the receiver ran it good. He hooked up at about 13, and he thought I was going to jump the short, what I kind of didn't, and at the last second, the quarterback tried to throw it to him, and I broke it up, and Eddie Lake picked it off. So that's my first time playing an SEC championship game, y'all.
You find success early, right, in your UF career, obviously.
Oh,
what would you say was the biggest adjustment you had to make from high school to the college game?
In high school, I had to learn, basically just how they run stuff in college. This is the first time I started dealing with dual defenses, dual calls and stuff like that. I never had that, In high school, I just had a cover 2, cover 1,
Sure.
cover 3. Now I'm dealing with dual stuff. I guess what helped me was when I had Coach Pruitt, when I was a freshman, a redshirt freshman, they were trying to make sure that I knew the defense and everything. So he would make me draw up the defense and draw up every position on the defense, including the defensive line and all that stuff. I wasn't even in their meetings, but he would make me draw up everything just to make sure I knew it, So but he would make me do it in front of everybody on the board, y'all. And if I F up, they're gonna clown me in front of everybody. So so that's how I learned. That's how I learned. But I mean, it helped me. Once I figured that out, if I could do it in front of them, then I can go out there and play fast and quick, easy.
You definitely played the next season in '95 when you take over the starting role at corner. That spring, was there competition for you? And if so, who was kind of your top competition back then to get the starting job?
Well, it was going to be out of me and Shea, but I was on a mission, and everybody knew it was kind of, to me, I was just ready to take that next step forward just to show everybody what 24 was all about. So, I mean, as you could tell, I kind of started off fast that year too. I think I had 5 interceptions real quick, one of those seasons. So I think I had 2 that year. My bad. But anyway, I played pretty good. Now, was that 94, 95?
Yeah, 2, and then 5 your junior year.
Yeah. That's the year Coach Spurrier got mad at me in 95 when I think we played against Ole Miss, and I dropped 5 interceptions that game.
Oh.
And then I sprained my ankle. Look, let me tell you how it go. I sprained my ankle. Then my only 2 interceptions that year, I came back against LSU and got them.
That's right, in the same game.
Yep. But I sprained my ankle the game before against Ole Miss, and I wasn't supposed to play, and I ended up playing. And I got my only 2 interceptions that year.
Well, despite only 2 interceptions, as John mentions in the intro, you are the ball hawk. You left some on the field, as you alluded to there. But how did you see your maturity and confidence growing at this point, though, as you're getting this success, taking on more of a position of leadership on the team and becoming part of your defense?
Well, you got to think I'm going against the best in practice every day. I got the best offensive coordinator you could ever have. I got pretty much the best receivers, whatever you want to, pick your choice of what you want to go against, and they kicking everybody butt in college. So I couldn't help but get better myself. And I was known as a technician, y'all. So I wasn't the fastest, but I wasn't the slowest. All right. I couldn't jump the highest, but I wasn't jumping I was close up jumping to the highest, So I was kind of in between, but I could hold my own, in other words. And then just confidence. Confidence is just playing, and then having a coach like Coach Stoops and the players that I play, my practice, my teammates. You can't help but get confidence when going against them every day. So that's kind of what helped me got ready, and then after already playing sparingly through '94, get me ready, and like I said, making plays in that championship game, I was ready to make some more plays in '94 and '95, and we went undefeated that year.
So real quick, going back to the game where you had the dropped the 5 interceptions, do you remember what Coach Spurrier said to you?
I mean, I don't know. He was saying, Fred, you know how Coach Spurrier used to talk right there. Fred, man, you dropping all those passes, man. Come on, man. You probably don't even need to play. And that's how he would say something like that. But I actually got hurt, and I wasn't supposed to play against LSU. And then don't slip now. Come game day, Fred, you gonna play? Please, come on. You ready to play? So it was totally different story. But like it happened like that. Like I said, I dropped I had my hands on the ball 5 times against Ole Miss, and he was clowning me in the meeting in the film room, and then I ended up having 2 picks the following game. So I kind of redeemed myself, y'all.
Sure, yeah.
So we know how 95 ends. You smash Arkansas for SEC championship number 2, and then, of course, Nebraska in the championship game. But let's go to 96. Let's take it to week 12. We've had a lot of your teammates on from those teams, but we've never asked, after that week 12 loss to Florida State, what was the vibe like in the locker room?
So that's the game when they had the extra, kind of echo hits on Danny.
That's right.
Yes, that's the one.
So I think we lost that game by, was it 3? 3
By
points
3.
or 7?
By 3.
Okay. They called a touchdown. We threw a bomb, and they called it back. So this is how we felt, y'all. We felt we let it slip away. Myself, I had my hands on the ball that game, too, a lot, too. And I dropped a winning interception, as a matter of fact, that game, too. But for us, the confidence on us, we kind of felt that we let one get away. They jumped out on us first. They blocked the punt or something like that. They hit a play with what's the face called a play on me on the sideline to get them down, and they got a field goal out of it. But they jumped out on us early, and then we stopped them like 9 times in a row after that. So the confidence we were feeling as a team that we should put up a lot of points on them, and then we just had some mishaps that didn't really go our way that game. So if you want to know how we was feeling leaving that game, with a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
That was one of the most physical games I remember seeing both teams. There was a huge defense on both sides. That was a tough one. But obviously we know good things were to come not too far after.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. January 2nd, 1997, Louisiana Superdome, New Orleans. We'll call it the rematch. I imagine, like you just said, you guys were confident. So tell us about that locker room going into that game.
Well, now, the reason why we was confident is, like I said, we felt that also that we left 14 points out there on the field. So the offense, that's what Coach Burden was saying the whole time. Like I said, they threw a touchdown pass in that game that we lost down there at Doak that they called back to read it, if y'all remember. I think it was like 50-some yards, a bomb. So we lost by 3. They was confident that they was going to beat them, at least put up 14 more points than we had in Doak last time. And then the defense, we knew we could stop them. So it is what it is on that. Once we figured out we could stop them, I mean, we had a top 10. I think we had a top 10 defense that year. So we had a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense. That's the championship combination, y'all.
Yeah, and then you guys destroyed them. So we, at the beginning of the show, before we went live, we were talking a little bit about the time when we were there, which happens to be the same time you were there. And you made a comment about partying. So what was the party like after that game? Because we know what ours was like. I can imagine yours was a little better.
We started from the locker room then, and we had a nice time. We went down to Bourbon, and pretty much people were signing everything for everybody. I mean, it was fun. It was a nice time in the Big Easy. I can say that.
Do you think Florida State knew they got away with one in the regular season, and did you kind of see it in their eyes at the beginning of the championship game? Because you guys were all over them early, and then it was never really a game.
All right, yeah. I mean, you remember Coach Bowden, Coach Bowden at the time, he didn't really want to play us again. So he kind of knew that they kind of got off on bail the first time in the first place. So, like I said, we were confident in it. We were trying to win a championship.
What memory stands out from a story about the game while the game's going on? I mean, obviously with the big lead, you knew the celebration was coming, long before the end. What do you remember about the sideline celebrating with your friends and the energy and against those guys? It had to be all the sweeter against those damn Seminoles.
Like, what stories do you tell when you talk about that game to your friends or your family?
Oh, just the score.
Yeah.
The score 52-20.
52-20.
You got that tattoo? 52-20?
No, but I mean, I got the ring. I showed it to him. I played the game, So, especially to all my Florida State friends, whenever they want to talk all that, the FSU stuff, I just show them the ring. I'd be like, I was in the game for the head-to-head, So they pretty much they get mad. Oh, that doesn't count. Hell yeah, but I was there. I smashed y'all. So. It counted.
The next year in '97, you have some tough losses there at LSU and to Georgia. You still win 10 games, finish number 4 on the season. But you cap off your Gator career with 6 more interceptions that season, giving you 15 on your career, of course, breaking the all-time mark set by Will White. He had 14 a few years prior. 118 years of Gator football, and no man has picked off more passes than you. How does it feel to still have that record?
I mean, at the time, I really wasn't really thinking about it. I was just making plays, but now after, all these years and stuff like that, that record is going to be a tough record to break. Reason why I say that, it's a 4-year record, y'all.
Yeah.
Like you see, like nowadays, if you pretty much top DB or something like that, you're not going to stay 4 years. So I think that's a 4-year record, and it's going to, it could be broken, but it's going to be somebody that's playing around for 4 years of Gators football.
Yeah, probably rare with the portal and the NIL and all that stuff going on these days.
Yeah,
Probably rare that you'll get somebody to do that.
Yeah.
We got magic number 15. You got a favorite one? You mentioned future teammate Jake's with the interception, or was it one off Manning, or one of the championship ones? What's the first one that comes to mind when you think of? Is it like children? They're like they're all the same, or is there one better than the other 14?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say the Manning's ones because but I picked up Couch too. But you got to think, man. I picked off some people in the pros. I picked off Troy Aikman.
Nice.
I picked off Kurt Warner. I got a picture here of me getting an interception over Jerry Rice, y'all.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one.
That's the memory.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But I'm gonna tell you the quarterback that threw that was Garcia. I forgot his first name.
Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia.
Yeah, he threw it. It wasn't Young. If it was Young, it would be even more impressive.
Well, along with that interception record, you get all the flowers in '97. First team All-SEC for a second time. Consensus first team All-American, finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award. How cool was it to add all those individual accolades along to your 4 rings?
You kind of you took the words right on off. I think it was kind of leading up to the buildup of us winning the championships, being in the championship play, and I think then the individual accolades started to come with that too. So it was kind of gratifying. Definitely, to see some results from your play.
You didn't lose a lot of SEC games in your career. 3 comes to mind. 3 games that you lost, SEC games in your entire Gator career.
That's just ridiculous.
My first game I lost was in '94, and I lost to Auburn, 36-33. And I think it was not Bo Nix, his dad. I forgot his name. Was the quarterback for Auburn. But that's the game Larry Kennedy got hurt. And if you want to know, I ended up getting freshman defensive player of the week that game, even though we lost. I think my stats was I think I had like 11 tackles, 4 pass deflections, and I stopped the fourth down play, which they don't show on none of the highlights, y'all. But one time they went for it on fourth down and they tried to go at me on a slant, and I, blocked it, defended it, and we got the ball over and turned out.
Do you think we'll ever get back to that kind of dominance in the SEC?
Oh man, I hope so.
It's tough to top.
Yeah,
I know it's a tough question. It's tough to top.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, y'all. When I went, I think last time I've been on campus and watched it was the year before, so I'm gonna say 2 years ago. When I looked and walked on campus compared to when I walked on campus when I was there in school, y'all, I can say night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for as athletes, when I was on campus, we was 3-4 deep, straight up.
Yep.
Like you like, man, they 3-4. Now, when I went out there 2 years ago, you could be like, oh, that guy, he might have a chance. But they're not 3-4 deep like how we were.
Mm-mm.
You understand? Now
it's reflected in the recent NFL draft where we had 1 first rounder, but then I didn't have too many picks all the way through. But when you were playing there, we were like littering all throughout the draft there.
Right.
So
but it's also what we talked about earlier too. It could be, I don't know if they are bringing in those type of athletes, like, because see, they had a whole bunch of athletes when they were when I was playing, y'all. They recruited athletes that were football players, So in other words, you're going to get mileage out of the person that you're recruiting. You're not, if he doesn't succeed at this spot, he's not a failure. In other words, you're going to get something out of him once he's on campus.
True.
I don't know if they're recruiting those type athletes now.
Speaking of the Gators, since you've left, who are some of the DBs that you've enjoyed? Obviously, we've had a lot. Who are some of your favorites?
Oh, I mean, I like Q1. I like
friend of the show.
Yeah, I like the boys. I like Janoris before he left.
Yep.
Yes.
And I like of course Joe. Man, that was man. Yeah, Joe Hayden. Yeah, man. That secondary right there.
Damn good.
That's a tough secondary, y'all. Because they had 2 corners like myself that was same like me that you had to go at it with, and they both could make plays, but they had 2. See, when I played, y'all, it was only just me, but we had some safeties, y'all. We had L Dog back there, Lawrence Wright. That was definitely intimidated everybody in the SEC. So that's the thing. We had different. We had safety, but they had a safety too now. What's my man Wright? They had Wright.
Major Wright. Yeah, but besides Major Wright, back in your day, DBs were just built different.
Yes,
man. Right? It was more of a tough man's position, a tough man's sport than it is, when they came around, or even today.
But I think it's funny. Today, I think if you play DB, you still could have the opportunity to make a lot of plays because the way they throw the ball. You got to think I could tell y'all the story. This in the NFL, I'm playing against Tampa Bay. I'm playing against Riedel and Quez, right? I'm getting ready to cover them, but John Gruden is the coach. So you know what he does? He's like, I'm gonna make them, the Saints, take one of their corners out the game. I'm gonna throw in this 3 tight end set, and I'm gonna make Fred, the other corner, either he gonna come out the game, they're gonna take him out the game and put in the safety, or he gonna have to tackle Mike Allstott the whole damn game.
Yeah, that's a tough challenge there.
And did you know? Hold on, and I'm telling you, and I did it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you, the score of the game was 9-3, y'all.
That proves my point. That you were built different and you were tougher, because I don't think the quarterbacks today can handle a guy like Mike Allstott all game.
No. You're right. You're exactly right. There's no way they wouldn't be able to handle that. No. You got to think, I had Dick as my coach, too, so I had to handle that. Now he was going to take me out, period.
You have to give us a Coach Ditka story, please.
Yeah.
Please. You were on the team when he did that famous picture in the wedding dress with Ricky Williams before the draft,
traded half
right?
the team for that dress.
He gave away a whole year's draft picks. Please, give us a Ditka story.
Yeah. Well, Ditka, okay, I would be stretching, all right, before practice, and Dick would be walking around, talking to the guys, and Dick, first of all, he would come to practice and Dicker used to like all the hot cars. So he would have like a Cadillac, drop top Cadillac, pink like that, and he'll drive it to practice. And then in line, so he'll come in and while you're stretching the line, all that stuff. I'm laying in the grass, looking up at the sky. He'll come over here. He'll be saying some stuff. He'll be like, Fred, the stuff that y'all guys right here are trying to do nowadays, he's like, y'all can't do it. He's like, but when we was playing football, it was allowed and all that type stuff like that. But he's like, he would say stuff like that. But then he'll come out, he'll say, you can't walk around without at least $3,100 bills in your pocket, and he'll just start counting money out right there in front of your face. And then, he was like that. And then check it out. And then another thing too about Dicker. So say like if I was in Chicago one time, and I went to one of his restaurants there, and he just heard that I was there. So Dicker wasn't there. I was in Chicago, but he heard I was at his restaurant. Caught my meal.
Wow, cool.
Same thing
nice
too.
Guy. Yeah,
same thing. Same thing. Went to his restaurant, his steak place in New Orleans. Caught my meal.
That's a good guy.
So
that's a good guy.
So those Dicker stories like that. No, Dicker was fun. He was straight to the point. He wanted to win, and I didn't know that Dicker was. I didn't know he played for the Cowboys when I first met him.
Okay.
I just knew Dicker from Chicago.
Right.
I didn't know he was a Cowboy.
Yeah, the Bears.
Big tight end for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Right. And he was assistant coach for Coach Landry for a long time before he became the Bears head coach.
Yep. Yeah, so it was great, man.
So the Saints will go back, take you in the NFL draft in '98. Were you excited to go back to New Orleans?
Yeah, because I was just there. I was like, man, I played a lot of games here. So yeah, it was kind of cool. At that point in time, I thought I was, I had New Orleans was almost like a second home for me because we had played a lot of ball games there.
Where were you when you got the call? Do you remember who you were with?
Oh, I was home. I was at my mom's house. They called. Let's see, early that morning. So you got to think. I thought I was gonna go on the first day, y'all. I didn't go on the first day. So I was the 97th player taken. I was the first one taken the next day, which would have been that Saturday or Sunday.
Why do you think you dropped?
Because I didn't have an agent, y'all. If you want to know the truth, okay. I thought my stats, everything that my resume spoke for itself. But back then, you kind of needed a hype man too. And then the scouts told me after the fight, they said that it was hard for them to grade me because I never got beat that much. And they said they grade corners off of recovery speed. That's what I was told.
It's like you're being punished for your success.
Yeah.
I know, right?
You don't get beat, so we don't get to see what it looks like when that happens.
Right. Because, I think I might have gave up when I was at Florida, maybe 4 touchdowns in 5 years. So how long I was there? So 1 a year, maybe.
Well, you go on to have a sneaky good NFL career. 83 games, 223 tackles, 7 picks. Even 1 pick six, you had your rookie year. Do you remember who that was off of, and do you still have the ball?
Probably so. I think I had the ball up there. Against Chris Chandler, maybe?
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Atlanta Falcons?
Atlanta, yep.
Yeah, I was wearing 42 at the time. I picked them maybe a 2-minute drill. They was about to start going to halftime, and I picked them twice. He got him one time, he overthrew it, and I caught it, and then the next time he tried to throw it out. But anyway, I ended up picking him. He tried to run a speed out, and I tricked him, y'all. So this is when I knew I had, okay. So he tried to run a speed out, and I was backpedaling, and I turned like I was about to go, like I was about to cover the deep ball. But when he thought I turned, he broke out. And when I turned, he thought I was going deep, and that's when I planted. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So when I turned, he thought I was going deep, trying to take over the go route, and then he turned and went for the out, and I planted right then, and I came right up under his ass.
Nice.
You see what I'm saying? And he threw the ball right to me, and I took it all the way for a 60-yard touchdown. That was my second touchdown. Second time I took the ball in the NFL.
Very nice. So
Was there anyone in the pros or in college that you felt like you kind of owned? You just loved lining up against them? Or maybe on the flip side, I'm sure you were never intimidated by anybody, but anyone maybe you had to do a little extra preparing for, get you ready for?
Well, what I found out in the pros that it's all about the quarterback, y'all.
Okay, makes sense.
If you want to know, that's what I found
Understandable.
out. So it didn't matter because you got to think it's only so many 4-3 guys you can cover. It's only so many you see what I'm saying, 4-2s. It's not about them. It's about the quarterback putting that ball there timely. So that's what I found out. You understand what
So
I'm
what
saying?
quarterback did you hate going up against?
Oh, I mean, I could say Brady. I only played against Brady one time, but the one time I do remember playing against him, it's the way he stepped up in the pocket to make the right play. That's what separated him from everybody else. So you got to think. I played against Marino. I played against Elway. I played against all the greats, but what separate, and Marino had the quickest release in the game, even
Yes, he did.
With his
Achilles problems
back then. He still had a gun. Still, I can imagine when he was fresh. But what makes Brady different is Brady stepped up in the pocket. Not the one time I do remember playing against him, we put a lot of pressure on him, but when he stepped up, he knew where to go at with the ball real quick, and that's the difference. Most time you put pressure on quarterbacks in the league, they can't handle pressure. Pressure bust pipes, y'all. So they easily make a mistake. So
pressure bust pipes. I like that.
That's normally what
Do you keep in touch with anybody to this day from Florida or the NFL?
Ellis Johnson.
Okay.
Elijah Williams. Tyrone Baker. Anthony Mitchell. That's pretty much it right there. Sometimes we try to do stuff as my 93 freshman brothers.
Sure.
I think it was only 10 of us that made it, but we try to get together and do stuff every now and then.
We tried to get Ellis on the show. Maybe you could tell him you had a great time if you did, because what he told me was the last time he went to UF was for your Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah.
And he did not like how UF treated him or something like that. So he wants nothing to do. He won't do anything affiliated with the university.
How they treated him there or no?
I guess they made him pay for everything. And how they treated him, and so maybe if you put some good word in for us, maybe we can get him on the show.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna definitely tell you that, but he's gonna be fishing first. So that's his thing, man. He bass fish. But I'll definitely try to put in some good words for you.
All right. Well, you did get that highest UF honor, being enshrined in the UF Athletics Hall of Fame in 2019. How'd they contact you to let you know, and how special is being in there to you today?
Oh, I don't really remember how I found out. I guess
was
I
it
got
a phone
an
call or email?
I think it was an email.
They probably had to message your wife.
Probably so. Probably.
Miss Kelly, your PR department. Yeah.
Yes, it probably was. They probably, but it was to me. I was like, I didn't really know the criteria or anything like that about getting in, so I didn't know anything about it. So. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely happy. You don't slip. I was definitely happy, to make that accomplishment. I definitely wanted to leave my mark on the school, and it was, you can't do it no better than that.
Leave your mark, you did. Certainly. Like looking back on your time in Orange and Blue, I mean, we got championships, you got records, Hall of Fame, senior year team captain and whatnot. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Like, what are you most proud of your accomplishments of your time in Gainesville?
Just basically proving to myself that I could do it, y'all. And I think that's the most fulfilling thing about it. Setting goals for yourself and accomplishing them. I mean, every goal that I set when I was at Florida, I hit it, y'all.
Yeah.
Championship, everything, academic wise. I mean, graduated my, in college human health and performances. I mean, every goal that I set for myself, I hit it, y'all.
Well, great answer.
You did it all.
So,
well, since you hung up the cleats, you've been pretty active, in the community, did some coaching, some business. What are you up to these days?
Bass fishing, y'all.
All right.
Yeah, I got a bass boat, so I'm in the bass fishing. So So that's basically what I've been doing lately.
All right. Well, Fred, we usually end the show in a bit, and we're going to do a 5 for 5. So what this is I give you 5 of your teammates one by one, and you tell us the first word that comes to your mind when I say their name.
Uh-oh.
You ready? You got to be honest here. Here we go.
Okay.
Larry Kennedy.
Stud.
Okay. L-Dog.
The man.
Johnny Rutledge.
J-Dog.
Okay. Ed Chester.
Oh, a beast.
Yeah. Yeah, we had him on the show. Ellis Johnson.
Another beast.
You used beast already.
He's the old OG beast.
The OG beast.
The
Okay,
OG
we'll take
beast.
it.
I like it.
We'll take it. Oh, man. Fred Weary, an absolute Gators legend. It was an absolute honor having you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time. Please thank Miss Kelly for us. We really appreciate you taking the time for us.
A lot of fun. Really, really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, fellas, man. It was nice chatting with y'all.
Another Gator Hall of Famer. We're going to have our own special wing of the All for the Gators Hall of Fame friends of the show.
Fred Weary.
Yes.
Man, like I mentioned in the intro, on the All-Century team. So he was voted by fans as one of the top 100 Gators of the first 100 years of Gator football. It's sort of a theme we have running. We have a bunch of those guys on. So what does that mean? We're getting some pretty damn good guests on the show.
Yes, it does. And those guys that are there when we were there, we got to see them in person so many times. Those guys
Extra
do hit a
special.
little different. Those are fun for us for sure.
And man, and like I said, he's one of those guys you'll never forget how he played in the swamp.
Oh.
It's forever etched in your memory. Him roaming that defensive backfield, man. Loved it.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right, ready for our 2 bits?
Always. Let's do it. Who's first?
What do you got? You want to go first, Andy?
I'll go first. I never get to go first.
All right, batter up, Andy.
I'm going to go way back to Mandarin High.
Okay.
I don't know anybody that has called their shot.
Nice.
Opening game of the school, opening kickoff. He says, I'm running it back. And what does he do? Runs it back. And that's what put him on the map with FSU. But, fortunately, he was destined to be a Gator, but that was a pretty cool story.
That is a baller move. We got mad respect there.
Yeah.
Yes. We're talking Hall of Famer.
That gets you on the map when you do that.
Very nice.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Sid.
I kind of like Andy's. I was going there, but I'm prepared. I got a pivot for you. I like the reference to how many times he said, I was a football player. Clearly one of the best defensive players ever in Gator history, one of the best defensive backs, but he does not want to be put in that box. I came to Gainesville as a football player, and I am a football player, and I think he definitely wore that mantle well, and one of the best football players ever to wear orange and blue, and I enjoyed this interview very much.
Good point. Good points, man.
Yeah, Zook gave us some of that great insight, right? That people he was recruiting, that could go just play anywhere. I know John mentioned it in the interview, right? Just
get them on the roster, right?
They landed right. They landed somewhere, and then they came, won championships, and became Hall of Famers.
Here, we'll find them a spot. Again, that's all you got to do.
That's right.
And it's not like these guys just found spots and were mediocre players. These guys found spots.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And became consensus All-Americans.
And I love how he spoke to that point, too, because what better practice, the preparation for him to be one of the best defensive players in the country is every day in practice he's going against one of the best offensive minds in the country, against some of the best offensive talent in the country. He's bound to just get better just competing with them every day.
All right, my 2 bits. Man, I loved the stories about catching an interception over Jerry Rice and facing Marino and Elway and Brady.
We do enjoy those NFL Hall of Fame shout-outs on the show. That is a good one.
But since it's a Gator podcast, I'm going to bring it back to the Gators and the number 15. 15 interceptions, the all-time interception record at UF. And as we mentioned in the show with NIL and transfer portal, I don't think it'll ever be broken. I really don't. Fred said it himself. That's a 4-year number.
Yep.
To get 15 interceptions.
Yeah.
And imagine if he didn't drop all the ones he said he dropped?
That's right. As he pointed out, he left a few on the field there. He could have put some distance between himself and the rest of the field.
So I think Mr. Fred Weary's name will be at the top of the record books for a very long time, if not forever. So great show, guys. Once again, man, feels good, man. Mr. Fred Weary is all for the Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.